first YouTuber to show the MCC1.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, but I got one problem with this.
You don't have it.
Beautiful people, hope you're having a great day. This is Studio Visitor, the podcast about European music studios, talking gear, philosophy and history. And gear it is we're going to talk about today. Next to me is Jeffrey of Dutch Audio, and in case you saw him on the channel before, that's correct, because he features also in the previous episode on his other company, Dagoose Mastering.
Correct.
Jeffrey, welcome to the channel, and we're going to do something special today, huh?
I hope so. I think so.
A little bit humble, but proud as hell. We're going to do a product reveal of his new monitor controller.
The MCC1.
MCC1.
Yeah,
before we're going to show you the product, we made a timeline about Dutch Audio to understand the company a little better. Let's go. 2007. The year 2007 is the year Dutch Audio saw the first day of light. Out of personal need, Jeffrey built his own products carrying that infamous Dutch Audio logo. These first products include SSL-type bus compressors and Pultec-type EQs. And of course, all of these had a ton of modifications. 2008. The first basic relay mastering console is ready to be used in Jeffrey's personal studio. That same year, Jeffrey built various tube compressors, a Suntec-based EQ, and he is the first DIY user building the Barry Porter Net EQ according to the original PCB design. 2009. The first monitor controller is designed with the Elma 24-step 4-deck switch. 2010. The first basic mastering console got revised and extended with a mid-side feature. 2013. A new monitor controller is designed with a relay ladder. 2016. The first big 2-unit instant mastering console is here, with features like swap channels, mid-side and active input gain. With this console, the external interest in Dutch Audio got started after being pushed by some friends. 2017. The 10-year anniversary is a fact. After all the hard work, the first IM 2.3 was built and sold to a recording studio in London. Later this year, the unit got slightly updated, which made things really get serious. 2018. The IM 1.1 and the IM 2.1 are introduced with features like parallel processing, mid-side and so on. 2019. Legendary mastering engineer Bob Katz orders his first IM 1.2 console. That same year, the IM consoles were redesigned with a unique model-based system to make custom builds easy possible. The MC1 controller, as introduced in 2018, is upgraded by the MC1.1, the MC1.2 and the MC1.3. Later on that year, the IM 1.3, IM 1.4 and the IM 1.5 were introduced. 2020. Bobcat gets his unit replaced with a new custom console. 2021. The idea of designing a computer-controlled console is here. Collaboration with Bastiaan de Waard for software development is a fact. 2022. The IC 1.1 has come to the world. 2023. The IC 2.1 is the new sibling in the Dutch Audio family. The MCC1 design has been started. 2025. After 2 years of development, the MCC1 finally arrives. The MCC1 is a new product. It's a monitor controller, and there are dozens of monitor controllers, but a couple of things that are really special about this one.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, the idea of the MCC1 is something that we did back then with the MC 1.1, the MC 1.2 and MC 1.3. Basically, the MCC1 is the follow-up, but with way more control. You control it with your phone, with your iPad, whatever. You control it remotely. But also, it has a lot more cool features like talkback, 4 inputs with dedicated buttons, with separate gains on inputs 3 and 4, with plus and minus 10 dB and 0.1 dB per step. Outputs, of course, 3 outputs with dedicated buttons for that. But the main section is still the same as the previous series, which is a really transparent gain control, which is done with, not with step switches or something like that, not with a pot meter or a digital pot meter or something. No, maybe you can hear the sound already if you listen closely.
Yeah, it's a relay switch.
Yeah, you can hear all the relays. It's done with relays. It's a resistor network, and every step is 1 dB louder or softer.
Okay.
And a regular pot meter, for instance, has a tolerance of about 5%. So it could be that it shifts a couple of percent to the left or to the right, or it's not as precise as what we do right here, because the max tolerance difference is 0.1%.
0.1.
So, yeah.
Get to the beginning, the input.
Yeah.
4 different inputs. That
Correct.
is not common in a monitor controller. Did you do this because you can, or a specific reason?
Now, actually, if you really look closely, it's actually 5 inputs, because there's also talkback input, but that's for a microphone, of course. 4 inputs. I think a lot of people use a DAW, but they also use something for playback, like a CD player or a turntable or whatever. You can connect it to that as well. Or a second monitor, or maybe some Bluetooth device or something like that. So that's why we chose 4 inputs, or how I use it in my mastering setup myself. If I switch between input 1 and input 3, then I can do an A/B between the mix and the master, so that you hear the mix with level compensation, and for instance on input 1 you hear the master, which is equally loud because of the level compensation, which you can do.
It's kind of parallel processing only, but
but you just listen to the processed and the unprocessed signal path, and you just have to push those buttons depending on which input you choose, of course. And that's the cool thing with input 3 and input 4. Input 1 and 2 are fully passive, so there's just some relay context there. Input 3 and 4 have an active section, which is basically the same active section which we use in, for instance, IC 1.1 and IC 2.1 and
the insert
computers, but also the insert machines. But in this case, you can set the gain plus and minus 10 dB in 0.1 dB per step just by pressing this button. You hold it and then you enter the menu, and then you can change the gain of, for instance, input 3 to, I don't know, plus 3.8 dB, and then you exit menu, and then now the gain is set to plus 3.8 dB on just input 3.
It's a clever feature, because sometimes you want to listen just a little bit louder, but you don't want to twist the knob.
Yeah, correct. And now you can change the gain, and you can also instantly see on the display right here that, for instance, now input 3 is selected, that the output, the input is set to plus 3.8 dB, and if I choose input 1 again, you can see that it's passive, that there's no gain compensation. Same if I go here, there's no gain compensation, so there's nothing on the display right now. Next to that, mutes. Yeah, basically when you press this button, you're muting the left channel. If you press this button, you're muting the right channel. And the button next to this is the dim button. If I press this button, in this case it goes to 15, so the output gain is set to, I don't know, 38.
Can you also adjust the amount of dim?
Yeah, you can set it to any value you want. So in the menu there's a user menu, and you can set the value to everything you want. Compared to the MC1.1, so the older version, that was a fixed value. You could change it with resistors inside, but with the new MCC1 you can just change it in the menu to any value you want.
That's kind of funny. You can change it where you said in the previous model you could change it with resistors inside, but
now you don't have to open it up. You just have to open up the user menu, and then you can change the dim level.
That display and this knob, that's kind of special, because I think it's the only monitor controller I know that is every step is relay switched.
There are some more.
Oh, did I know that?
There are some more. Yeah, I think the Dangerous also does that. Not 100% sure, to be honest, but there are more monitor controllers doing it this way. But a lot of those monitor controllers have active input and active output, while this one, input 1 and input 2 and output 1 and 2 are fully passive. So if I use this, and there's just a couple of resistors in line basically, so there's nothing that could harm the signal.
Just a little bit of loss, perhaps.
Yeah, no, the only loss is gain, because you're taking the gain down with the resistor network.
Not the sound.
Not the sound. There will nothing.
How did you come up with this idea to make it a resistor?
Resistor network, yeah, that was actually something which I came up, I don't know, 5 or 6, no, even longer ago. Quite some time ago, I found a schematic of a resistor network with relays, and it was like, oh wow, this is cool, because this is way more transparent than what you normally see in a monitor controller. And then I found out that it's actually, if you look at it, it's quite simple. If you know some digital techniques, in this case it's 64 steps, and those 64 steps are built using different resistors. And the first step is 1, second step is 2, step next to that is 4, 8, 16, 32.
Yeah.
And with those 32, 16, 8, etc., you can come up with all numbers in between 64 and 0. Just with the combination. So for instance, if we want 24, it's quite simple. Just step 16 and step 8 will be on. And if I go to 53, that's more complex, so now I have to think, but you get the idea. You get the idea. It's a simple calculation of the resistor network. So, and that's pretty cool. And so it's a matter of combining these steps. So every step uses different values of those resistors combined.
Yeah. Next to this section.
Yeah.
Tell me.
This one is the mono button. Yeah, the name says it all. It's a mono function, so you press this button and left and right will be summed, and you can listen to just a mono signal. Next to that, there's a dual function button. If I press it once, you will swap the polarity of the left channel. So you will swap the phase of the left channel. And the cool thing is, if I combine it with this, so mono and diff, if I combine those two buttons, you can listen to just the side channel.
Really?
Yeah, so in this case, you're listening to the side channel, and if I do this, now you're listening to the mid channel, basically, the mono channel. So that's also mid-side. And you can also, if you have a serious phase problem, you can instantly hear just by pressing this button or combining those two, to listen where the phase issues come from.
Yeah, especially for mastering.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
These problems are really common. We all make mistakes. Doesn't matter, but it's an easy way
to check for phase issues. As said, this button has two functions. This also, by the way, but that's something else. If I press and hold this button for 2 seconds, you can see it flashing now. Yeah. And what you do now is you swap left and right. So the left channel becomes right and the right channel becomes left.
Also a handy function.
It's a handy function. The cool thing is, if you're really stuck at a mix or at a master, and especially with the stereo image, just by swapping left and right, you get a different view, a different perspective of what is going on. So it's not something which you do all the time, of course, but
the stereo filter, the phase correlation, totally.
Yeah, it's totally different. You get a different perspective of the sound. So, and for sometimes people that have a hearing problem on the left ear or right ear, you can also use this function so that you can check what is going on, which is pretty handy. This button is also for entering the menu, the user menu. If I press and hold this button, then you will enter the user menu and you can do all settings. Like gains, you can also compensate for gains for the different outputs. So that output 2, you need, for instance, you're using monitors which has more gain. You can turn the gain down so that you go to output 2 and it's being compensated
if
for.
You come from near field to wide field.
Yeah, you can compensate that. On output 3, it goes even further. Then you also have the plus and minus 10 dB gain range in the 0.1 dB per step. So that's active. But in this case, the gain change for this can be done with a change of steps. You can even compensate for differences in left and right. You can also shift it a bit more to the left or shift it a bit more to the right. So for instance, if one monitor has a really old amplifier or whatever, or it's further away, so not really an ideal situation, but you can change the gain, like, I don't know, 2 dB lower on the left side, for instance.
Really smart features that that are not common in a product like this.
And you can do that per output. So
on the output, but are you the only one one with this feature, or are there others?
To be honest, I didn't even check that.
Really?
So I don't know.
But
maybe they do.
Is that also the philosophy of you developing products? Don't care what others do.
Yeah. Basically.
Basically.
Yeah, no, the fun fact is that when I started off with Dutch Audio, the idea was that I wanted something for my own studio, but there was not something which was available on the market. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to design it myself because I want this, I want this, I want this, and it's not there. So I will just make it myself. And that's the same idea with the monitor controller here.
The funny story about a lot of these audio boutique firms, like you, I know Hum Audio, Loop Trotter, but also Tegler, that's a big player.
Yeah.
Michael Kush did the same thing. He started with the Cream.
Yeah.
It's like some sort of pool EQ with a VCA compressor out of his own needs. And that's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Last button. Knob.
Yeah, this is the headphone output. I think the name says it all. It doesn't matter. I'm going to exit the menu because I'm still in the menu. It doesn't matter what gain you set it to or what gain you set here, because this is pre-attenuator section. So it just works on the input, and you also get the mono, the diff, the swap LR, of course, also through your headphones, but it's not like you're changing the gain of your headphone here as well. So that this is a separate gain for just this for this gain, for the output of the headphones. So
why one output and not two? Or a headphone output.
Yeah, if you want a separate headphone output, there's also a direct out on the back of the unit, which you could use for metering or something like that, and you can also connect some other headphone output, because first of all, there's not enough room for it for two headphones, and I think in practice this will be in the control room.
Yeah.
So you don't need more headphones outputs.
No, might be interesting for smaller studios.
Yeah, true.
That is the analog part of this monitor controller, but there's also a digital part.
Yeah, true. Yeah, first of all, it's computer controlled. It's fully analog, but of course the display buttons, how they are working, it's digital controlled, which means you can do some external contact as well. I'm going to pick my phone up here. You can also use it remotely with your phone or iPad or whatever. For instance, I'm going to change the inputs now just for my phone.
Yeah.
Just switching here or changing the gain or I don't know, turn mono on, swap left right. There's a dedicated button for it, so you don't have to hold it. Right now we are still developing this part of the monitor controller. It's going to be even more complex. Yeah, there's also presets, by the way, and you can also use the presets just from your phone. Or
how many presets are available?
There are 10 presets available.
More than enough.
More than enough. I think in practice you'll most likely use two. Yeah. Also, for instance, what you could also do right now, it says input 1, output 1, but you could also change the names of those inputs and outputs in the user menu, and the idea is also that you could do that from
the phone,
your phone, from the interface,
mobile device, whatever.
Yeah, and the firmware will also most likely be updated using that as well.
Yeah, talking about firmware, how do you keep maintenance of new firmware?
We're working together with Bastiaan de Waard, who is our software developer. Bastiaan is not just a software developer, he is also a musician, but he also knows a lot of things about electronics because he's fixing synthesizers and things, and he's designing for a long time. He's collecting synthesizers as well. He's like, you don't want to know how many synthesizers he has, like Jupiter 8s and things, like all the big things. So that's the cool thing. When I'm working together with him, I don't have to explain to him, this is how an output works, this is how an input works.
No, he knows.
He knows it. We just talk technical all the time. Like, this is not working, this is how it should be working. So we're constantly sending messages back and forth, like, this is how it should be working, or what do you think about this, or should we change this, or I found this, or That's the cool thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you got this companionship that really works.
Yeah, it really works. And the cool thing is, usually I go by car, but walking takes a bit too long maybe, but I can go there by bike if I really want to. He's living like 5 kilometers away from here, maybe not even 5 kilometers. So that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If there's one thing left to say about this thing, beside of the transparency and the unique functions.
Yeah, yeah. There's one thing which I think I forgot to mention, or actually two, on the inputs. Input 3 can also be changed to be a phono input, so you can connect your turntable directly to input 3.
The RIAA composition is already made.
Yeah. On my own monitor controller, which I use over there, I have it built in, so my turntable is connected directly to this.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
And the other thing you forgot to mention?
There's a talkback function in it, which means if I press the talkback, which is a switch on the back with a foot pedal, or you can also use it in the upcoming updates for the remote connection. When you press the talkback button, all things will be muted or the way you like it, and then it will be sent direct to the direct out. So for the vocal booth, for instance, and you connect it there, and then you can use a talkback function. So, and there's also the possibility to make the input section of input 3, 4, that section will be replaced, and there will be a small preamplifier for microphones. That's also optional.
Okay.
So
it's an amazing product. I'd like to say a couple of things before I open the camera for the closing thoughts. First of all, I'd like to thank my viewers, and I hope I ask the right questions about a product like this. I'm really grateful with you giving me the opportunity to be the first.
And I'm thankful.
First YouTuber to show the MCC1.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, but I got one problem with this.
You don't have it. You can also order it in black if you want to. Yeah. There are a lot of other products you make, like the insert computers. Yeah, true.
This one.
Yeah, this is a smaller one. We also have the IC 2.1, so the bigger one. Yeah.
If there's anything left to say about your products, or whatever you want to say, the camera is yours.
Yeah, yeah. Just if you want to know more about the actual products, you can go to the website, which is Dutch.audio. So not DutchAudio.nl or something like that. No, it's an audio domain, so Dutch.audio, and then you can go there. There's also where to buy. And there's like a lot of dealers. I think in America we have like 5 or 6 dealers. Yeah, we have a lot of dealers worldwide, but you can also use the online shop, of course. So, and like I said, if you have more questions, just drop us an email, and yeah.
And the invitation is open for you people to get in contact if you're interested. We'll link his company in the description below, and also the previous episode about his mastering company. That's it for this episode, I think.
Great.
Like I said, I'm grateful with the opportunity.
And I'm thankful.
Thanks for having me. If you like this video, drop a comment in the video below the video. Give it a like, or even better, subscribe to the channel. And I say, until we meet again, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.